Welcome to Secrets Out Idaho. Each week, we let you in on the secrets of Southern Idaho and speak to the people who make it such a unique, hidden gem. I'm your host, Connie Stouffer. On this week's episode, we'll hear about how one local entrepreneur created a healing retreat in the Hagerman Valley over 60 years ago. We'll be talking to his granddaughter and local massage therapist, Jane Olsen. She'll share how Miracle Hot Springs got its start, what makes the Hagerman Valley so special, what brought her back after years away, and a few tips on self-care and healing. Jane Olsen, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm really excited to hear about what you and your family do in the area, and I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to have you start by telling me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I was born in Jerome, Idaho, and my whole family is from this area. Both my parents went to high school in Jerome. My grandfather owned the grocery store in Jerome for years and years back in the day. And then in 1958, he was hiking down in the Hagerman Valley and duck hunting with his brother and came across a hot spring coming out of the ground, and his little entrepreneur mind started working, and he found out that the land was for sale. So he purchased the land and sold his grocery store and dug a big hole in the ground. He piped water right down through the creek from where the well comes out of the ground, and it cools the water as it comes through the pipes down the creek so that by the time it gets to the swimming pools, it's just the perfect temperature.
Wow. What a visionary thought to do that, because as retail has changed over years, and I'm sure grocery stores are true of that in a lot of sense, that I don't know if he knew that that was coming, or if he just thought this seems more fun and exciting, or what made him just switch going from to sell his grocery store altogether and do this new venture. Do you know kind of what his thinking was? Or?
Well, he had arthritis and he had some health problems, and he knew how well he felt after he would soak in the mineral water. The water in this particular area is extremely wonderful. It's silky smooth. There's hardly any smell. There's no sulfur smell to it. It's got really good minerals that are very soothing and healing. So that was a big motivation for him. Plus, there was a few hot springs becoming public, and he could see that it was a good business for the future. He was a real businessman, too.
That's exciting. So tell me about the origins over that whole time. So that was in 1958, and here we are.
Yes.
And it's grown, and it's a destination here. So tell me about if someone was to come and see it now, what would the experience be like?
Okay, well, over the years it has grown. As when my grandfather retired, my parents took it over. And so it was my home. I learned how to swim there in the pools until I left for college and studied health sciences.
Was that inspired by your childhood growing up in the mineral pools, or was that inspired by something else?
Well, the mineral pools came in real handy later because I was always interested in health. I started out in the medical field, and eventually, after working long, hard hours for a surgeon in Arizona, where I had moved to, the traffic, the population, I went back to school and became a massage therapist. And that's when I moved home. It was the perfect place with people come down there to soak their aching bodies, and it was the perfect place to open a massage business. So that was 25 years ago. As soon as I graduated from massage school, I moved back home to Idaho and started my own little business there by myself. I lived in a little RV under the apple tree and just real casually offered massage. Now, after 20 years, I have currently 7 other therapists working there with me. We have 3 beautiful massage rooms, and we are busy all the time.
What's your business called?
My business is called Massage at Miracle.
Oh, that's a perfect name.
It is.
Perfect. So tell me more about the hot pools. So there's Miracle Hot Springs and there's Banbury Hot Springs. Tell me the difference and what people would find there.
Okay, right down on Highway 30, there are 3 hot spring resorts. We owned Miracle Hot Springs for all those years. About a mile across the highway is a place called Banbury Hot Springs. That started in 1940, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And originally, the only access to Banbury Hot Springs was a ferry across the Snake River.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've come a long way from then, but about 3 or 4 years ago, Banbury Hot Springs came up for sale. And my brother, who currently owns Miracle Hot Springs, purchased it. So now he co-owns both hot springs. It's real great because Banbury's has a very large pool with a diving board, a log for kids to play on, a real shallow end all the way to a deep end. So it's really great for families and kids. Plus it has wonderful camping with tall, big old trees, and it's right on the Snake River.
Oh, beautiful.
So they have kayaking and things down there. So that's a family resort. Miracle Hot Springs has always been kind of the serenity, soaking, healing place. And it has 2 larger pools. One of them's real hot for therapeutic. The other one's a little cooler. You can swim laps in that.
So what's real hot? Tell me what people are in store for in the real hot pools.
Ooh,
Am I putting you on the spot?
You know what? You are. That's not my area.
Okay. Just be prepared, right? You're going to be little lobsters when they come out.
Yeah, it's wonderfully hot.
Yeah.
It's not too hot. So.
Yeah.
And then there's some sitting pools that they just put in with a remodel. In 2012, they remodeled the whole thing to a southwestern style, added some VIP private pools, which are bigger than the regular private pools. So there are 21 private pools.
Which would be really nice, I think, for like a romantic date night or something like that, right? Is that what usually people are there for, date nights or something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the most popular massage therapies is our couples massage. We have 2 rooms that are set up with 2 tables, and lots of people come down and soak in the mineral water and then go together into the same room with 2 therapists and get massages together, and it's really popular.
That sounds like a really wonderful day to spend out there soaking
is.
and getting pampered and then feeling great, having soaked in the mineral water and all that. Yeah. Wonderful. So, so you guys, that would have been a little bit of a change. Jerome's not that far from Hagerman, but did everyone just move over to the Hagerman Valley after your grandfather decided to open this, or how did that transition?
We're kind of scattered all over the place. It's a big family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have several families are in the Hagerman area, the Buell and Hagerman area. And I don't think anybody's left in Jerome now.
Yeah,
So.
You all made the transition. Well, in Hagerman, a lot of people call it the banana belt of Southern Idaho. It's a little bit warmer. The winters are a little bit more mild. There's just it's a little kind of hidden oasis there in the area.
Watermelons grow great down there. Hagerman
it's also called the melon belt. Yeah.
Hagerman melons are the best in the world.
So if someone wanted to come find is there some melon farms they can go and pick their own melons, or where could someone find a Hagerman melon?
All you have to do is drive through the small town of Hagerman and ask anybody. It's a real
They can hook you up with a melon.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a good tip because it's melon season, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Awesome. So when you're not doing massage therapy or helping out with the mineral pools, what do you like to do, you and your family?
I especially like walking in the beautiful outdoors in this area, going to creeks, and there's a lot of parks. There's bird refuges that are beautiful to go and see. There's a lot of historical places around this area. The pioneers came through this area.
Any particular ones in mind that people should seek out if they're here, if they're looking for either historical locations or if they're into birding or hiking?
Hagerman.
Yeah, Hagerman.
Yes. Yep. And there is an office there, the Forest Service office there, that have a little museum, and they can guide you to trails. They can tell you everything that's in the area.
Awesome. So you mentioned earlier the kind of healing properties that people can experience by going to the mineral pools. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? So if someone's like, is that for like achy joints, or just is that what it is for, or what else kind of could someone get from spending time soaking in the mineral pools?
Well, it's mostly for that purpose.
Yeah.
People come in aching and hurting, and they walk away pain-free, just relaxed. A lot of people always say we need a driving service there to drive people home, because we are 10 miles out of town. And that's the thing I hear the most is, oh man, I don't want to drive home now. I'm so relaxed.
So what are the minerals in the water that actually provide that healing, those healing properties?
They do have a list down there at the hot spring that you can request. That also is not really my area.
No worries. So tell me, 25 years ago you moved back to the area from Arizona.
Yes.
Was it something about Arizona or that you missed here, or was it just you knew you needed a change in career? Kind of what what brought you back to the Hagerman area?
I went there with a marriage, and we raised our kids up into grade school. When that ended, all I wanted to do was come home. So,
what was it that you missed about home?
The slow pace, the population. I like to joke, I've been driving Highway 30 all these years to go to work for 10 miles, and I never tire of my drive to work, and I always have a smile on my face when I pull down into the lane. It's just so beautiful here. The worst case scenario is that you get behind a tractor, or something like that, so you have to be kind of at a slower pace, and that's the part I like.
Well, the drive in the Hagerman Valley is particularly beautiful because you've got the river, and then you've all these waterfalls. There's so many waterfalls over there. So it really is a beautiful drive when you're going over that direction.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Are there some other areas in the Hagerman? I know they can check out the visitor center, but where are some other places in the Hagerman area that people should check out if they're there and want to spend the day or a weekend?
My favorite place to eat is called the Snake River Grill, and it also is in Hagerman. Kurt is the chef that has been there for years, and he specializes in wild game. So they have some really amazing, they serve alligator.
Yeah. When I first moved here, people were like, oh, you can get fresh alligator here. I'm like, fresh alligator? That doesn't even make sense. But you sure can there, right there in Hagerman.
And we do. We've had alligators at Miracle Hot Springs. It's been quite an attraction for people. I can tell another story about my grandfather. Way back in the day, they did discover that alligators do well in that Banana Belt Valley because of all the hot springs. And if they live with the hot water, they can survive through the winter and stay really healthy. So alligator farms did start going in, and he ordered 7 little alligators. They were about the size of your hand, of a large lizard. And he put them in a little tank pool down there. The customers started to bother them. They would pick them up by the tails and things like that. So he decided to just transfer them up the creek, up to where the natural hot pools were. And he let them loose up there. He went up the next day to check on them and could not find any sign of them. So he figured they hadn't made it. A couple of years later, he was hunting with his brother again up the canyon. He started to step over what he thought was a log, and it was a full-grown 2-year-old alligator.
Oh, my gosh.
And they managed to round all 7 up. They had all survived.
Oh, wow.
So then he built a really nice big sanctuary pen down at the hot spring and brought them back down. So they have been an attraction for years.
Are they still down there?
We currently have one.
Yeah.
She's a huge, large alligator. Her name is Lola. So that's what we have now.
I bet that was quite the surprise. You're just out there not thinking there are alligators out there, and all of a sudden a huge, giant alligator right there. I bet that was good thing it was your grandpa that found him and not just some lone person out there, because that
it is a scary thought. And with all the alligator farms down there, I've never seen an alligator in the wild. I don't think it would be impossible that if one ever escaped, it could live happily there with no one really realizing it.
Well, it sounds like everyone can live happily in the Hagerman Valley.
Yes.
The melons, the alligators, the people, it's got everything anyone needs. Yeah. So what are, so outside of the Hagerman Valley, is there any places that you like to go in Southern Idaho to recreate, or places you love to go eat, or things that you like to do?
There's a lot of beautiful areas. Sun Valley is a really nice place to visit. McCall. With 2 or 3 hour drive, you can get to some beautiful higher country areas. There's lots of skiing around. And Twin Falls is a nice big town. It's got movie theaters. It has pretty much everything you would want to eat or do for activities. Yeah,
which is really nice, because I think any direction you go, there's something different. And so whether you're in Twin and you're driving to Hagerman to go soak in the mineral pools, or if you're in Hagerman to come try a different restaurant or do some shopping or things like that, or to go drive north and, go skiing or something. So there's lots of opportunities.
We've got everything.
We do. So back to your grandfather being the entrepreneur that he was. Tell me about how business was. So over that course of, it's 70 plus years now that you guys have been out there. What was the evolution of starting the hot springs to what it is today?
Well, he first started with just the one big pool and 6 private hot baths. His first day of business, it was 25 cents, and he
Sounds like a deal.
he made $2.50 on his first day open. So, yeah, and so then they added more private hot pools and another larger pool. Mm-hmm. And then after my parents owned it and then they retired, my 2 younger brothers took over. Mm-hmm. And that's when they did the big revamp and remodel and mm-hmm. added more pools. Mm-hmm. So it's just continued to grow. There's beautiful grounds. There's an RV park there as well, right mm-hmm. on Salmon Falls Creek. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty busy. I recommend weekdays.
Weekdays?
Yes. It used to be the best kept secret. We mm-hmm. had so many regular clientele that just loved their best kept secret. Mm-hmm. The word's out now. So weekends can be very, very busy.
Very busy?
Yeah.
And I assume, is it even busy in the summertime when it's hot?
Summertime is our slow time.
Okay. So they might be able to get in on like a cool evening or something, a cool summer evening, and that might be a nice time.
Yes.
Yeah.
People don't think hot water sounds very good in the heat of the summer, but it's actually very refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and here in Idaho, we have cool summer nights. You know, it gets really hot during the day, but it cools off in the evening, and I think it might be really nice to have a soak, and especially if it's quieter and there's not as many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday nights are the busiest. So if you can work around those, you'll have a little more serenity.
Have a good time. So. And if people wanted to book those private pools, how far in advance should people book the private pools?
For weekends, a lot farther in advance. You can book online or you can call the reservation desk. We do have a special number for same-day reservations and a number for future reservations. So it's kind of luck of the draw.
Yeah.
The campsites are real busy and booked ahead. We do have some domes down there, camping domes.
Oh, really?
That are furnished with beds. I call it really glorified camping.
Yeah, like glamping.
They don't have restrooms in them or anything, but they're the geometric domes, and they're kind of fun.
Yeah, that does sound like fun.
And then over at Banbury's, they have a variety of little cabins and suites to stay in.
Oh, wonderful. So you don't necessarily have to drive home. You could stay the night, plan ahead.
Or bring your RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I wanted to kind of change topics a little bit, not too much, but since you have a degree in health sciences and are a massage therapist and kind of grew up in this healing kind of environment, what would you recommend for people just as like lifestyle things that just make their lives a little healthier and a little better, particularly if they're dealing with like stress or achy joints or just being they're cooped up like me all day at a desk and like things that just every day they could do a little bit to be a little healthier?
First thing I would say is prioritize time for yourself. Take those breaks. Book yourself a massage. Take a mental health day off if you need to. And just kind of stay tuned into that.
Is that what you see is probably, I mean, so you have a lot of clients that are there for massages, and some of them are just there because it's a nice pampering, but I'm sure some of them are there because they're stressed or they've got a crick in their neck or something like that.
Absolutely. Most of us don't really go in for help until it's crisis point. We really need a break. The first thing I like to tell clients is you are off duty for an hour. All of your muscles have permission to be off duty. You can collapse and relax into the table. Even your brain cells can go off duty if they would like to.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice treat.
Yeah, it is. And as they do take that time for themselves, there's something that happens with the nervous system. It comes into a safe space. It goes off duty. And that's when the body can start to let go, revamp, reboot. I kind of compare the body to a computer. I tell them you can defrag, delete anything that you really are done with, and then reboot fresh and ready for life some more.
How often do you think people need to do that ideally? I know people wait until they're, beyond when they should have been doing it, but like how often do people really just need to like sit down, turn off and kind of give themselves some time?
I have a lot of clients that just schedule a massage once a month. When someone has something real chronic or acute and they're actually in a pain pattern in their body, many people will come back once a week.
Oh, wow.
And then pretty soon every 2 weeks. And they start feeling better longer in between sessions as the body learns how to rebalance and release old stress that's been held in the body. they feel better longer. And so I call most of my clients, once they've gotten to that point, my periodic regulars, because they know.
Yeah.
They'll start getting bound up, or things will start kind of coming back, and they'll think, oh, I got to get in, and then they're off and running again. So it's a very good thing.
That's good. I know that everyone kind of carries and deals with stress differently. Some people will hold it all in their neck or their shoulders. And I know that's the case for me. And I'll start to feel like a crick, where I can't turn my head all the way. And I'm like, I need to have a few little calming moments, because I know that I've been probably holding things too much, but everyone is different. And so everyone's got probably a different signal to themselves that they need to maybe check in with themselves and get better.
It's usually the low back or the neck. But, I call there's certain muscles in the neck that create what you're talking about. The levator scapula gets real tight. And in Chinese medicine, it's actually called the world holding muscle. And we literally hold the world on our shoulders. And so if we have stressful jobs or things are happening in our lives that we feel like we're carrying the world, we really can't turn our neck. Our bodies will respond accordingly. And so, it's a good thing to go in and get finished and done business out of your body so that you can deal with what's happening in the present.
Yeah, I listened to a different podcast recently, and they were talking about those things that sometimes people get stressed about, and then they ruminate on them over and over again, and even though it's done and over with. And she said that a good visualization technique that she talks to her clients about is to picture that problem as an object, and to put it into a box and then put it away on a shelf, to actually just file that away. And I thought that was an interesting way to visualize something that you just can't stop thinking about, I should have done this different, or I should have said this, or I wish it had gone this way. But now there's nothing you can do about it, and you're just stressing about it. And you're I just need to put it in a box, put it away. I've thought about it as much as I can, and now I'm done with it. I got to move forward. And I think everyone probably has a different approach that will work for them internally. But
Yes, you can let it go. Take any wisdom that you learned from it. Use it in the future if something similar comes along, and just keep moving forward. You do have to let things go.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I actually want to go back, because I'm fascinated by this now, about talking about people's health. But what made you, I know it sounds like your job in Arizona was really stressful working for a surgeon, but what made that decision to go from that role to massage therapy, which sounds like different polar ends of healthcare?
Yes. It was my own healing journey. Trying to take care of myself and deal with my own stress and headaches, rush hour traffic, headaches at the end of the day. And I started just reading about some of the more natural therapies and a little bit about meditation, all of those things. I think many of us go on that journey, and we just kind of start looking and searching. And everywhere I looked, I just found new, wonderful things. And I don't really remember what took me to massage therapy, but when I started researching it and actually went to school, I like to say therapists have to first go through their own healing journey. While you're in school, you're getting body work, you're learning how to give body work, you're learning how the emotional and the mental and the physical body are all completely in sync with one another. So it's like three legs of the stool, if one leg's out of balance, the whole stool's out of balance. And I just loved what I was hearing. And I started becoming happier and more relaxed. And I just thought, this is what I want to do.
That's awesome to find a passion that that fits with, what your mindset is, and it's healing for both yourself and others. I think that's really exciting. Yep. So you mentioned the three legs of the stool. So that's your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and spiritual emotional well-being. So can you give a tip for each one of those? So if someone needs, because everyone's going to be in a different place. Their physical health might be really great, but their emotional health may be struggling, or want some combination. What is something that people who are in different circumstances can do to kind of check in with themselves?
Well, one of the things about the three legs of the stool is it doesn't matter which leg of the stool gets triggered, it affects the other legs of the stool. So if you're in a car accident and you get an injury that creates pain patterns in your body, that then creates stress and anxiety about not being able to do what you used to do, financial, all the worries, the emotional and mental worries that you have, the worry. Worry, for example, the stomach in Chinese medicine, there are all the different organs kind of brace to support different emotions or life experiences. The stomach, for example, will slightly contract with the emotion of worry. So if someone worries a lot, if a child is really worried about something going on in school or in their life, they stay home with tummy aches.
I feel nauseous. I was just thinking about when you talk about it, when I'm really worried about something, I feel nauseous. Like it'll make me actually feel physically sick.
Yeah. So it's addressing all areas of it, and the physical body literally mirrors what's happening in our lives on all of those levels. So if we're holding the world, we're going to have a tight shoulder and neck. If we're worrying, we're going to have acid reflux and chronic patterns like that if we're chronic worriers. And mental busyness will, just not being able to let the mind settle will create stress throughout the whole body. And into the emotional system. So they're all tied together.
Yeah. But I think that busyness, I think in some respects, we all kind of do that to ourselves by having like our phones on our nightstands. And so we're always checking our emails or reading the news or staying up with social media or whatever. We never allow ourselves to turn off. And that accumulates, I think, in our, in the way we are every day, whether our stress or just needing to have time to reboot, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of what I see in the massage rooms is, I call it computer neck, computer wrists.
Tech neck.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're all always looking at screens and headaches and eye problems. So I do a lot of energy work as well. I do many different types of modalities from all traditions of healing. And there's something really powerful about just getting the body and the nervous system to stop for a moment. And then our body has energy flows that run through it. And when you can get those energy flows balanced and moving again, along with the blood circulation and the physical levels of everything, all three of the legs of the stool will come together. The body will have less pain. The mind will be more settled. The emotional system will be more balanced and at ease. Massage can also really help with mental depression and all of the psychological issues that we have now on the planet.
Yeah. Well, I bet too, I think I'm going to get the number wrong, but I heard once, the number of times people need to be hugged or embraced in a day.
Yes.
And I think with the way our society has gone with being we're maybe staying in touch with family members more, but we're not actually seeing them in person or giving someone a hug or even shaking people's hands. And so we're not experiencing that physical touch that we actually need. And so I'm sure massage helps to supply some of that, as well as working out kinks and getting blood flowing and things like that too.
Absolutely. And it's that safe touch. Just absolutely being touched with absolute safety in a way that is nurturing. That's so valuable to so many. And elderly people really benefit from massage. Once they discover it, it's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, I bet. I expect people, who are elderly who maybe aren't going to work anymore or have less social connection, or maybe their families have moved away, or maybe they're widowed or something like that. And so they probably really could benefit from that.
They definitely do.
Yeah. So this is going to seem like a random question where we are in this conversation, but the domes that you talked about, is there electricity at those?
Yes, there's electricity. There's heat in the floors. So from the hot water, all of the business is heated through the floors with hot water pipes going through the floors. So it's really nice when you step down.
That is really nice. Warm. Yeah. That sounds like a little... Well, I was asking because I'd heard about these... no tech kind of retreats where you go somewhere where you don't have internet or cell phone, and then you just experience life unconnected. And so I was thinking to myself, you could go out to Hagerman. You can get cell phone reception out there, but maybe just a self-imposed, I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to go soak in the pools. I'm going to have a massage. I'm going to look at the birds by the river and just have a nice disconnected kind of reconnect with yourself sort of thing.
There are no TVs in the domes. There probably are a few of the places over at Banbury's that have TVs, like a hotel room would. But down at Miracle, we're in a little bubble. There's no cell phone reception down there, or it's really sketchy. So, you're pretty much off the grid when you go down there.
Yeah, so that is perfect. So people could go and just disconnect, have a soak with either their loved one or themselves and reconnect and have a really great time.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah. So you said it's getting busier, so it's not just locals that are coming, so it must be people from all over.
Yeah, we have people coming through. It's a byway anyway, a scenic byway. So we get a lot of tourists coming through. We have many people that have stopped in for years. It's one of their favorite spots along their journey. They always go through the byway and hit Miracle Hot Springs.
That's amazing.
So we get all kinds down there. It's a good variety.
Yeah. So where are people coming from? Just as an example.
All over.
Yeah.
Yeah. All over the United States.
Yeah.
Anyone who's attracted to Idaho. Yeah.
That's amazing.
lot from Washington.
Yeah. Washington, Oregon.
Yeah.
And I bet people are maybe coming from the West Coast to go to Yellowstone or to Sun Valley or something and coming through.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, in our last few minutes of the show, just an opportunity for you to tell me anything else that people should know, either about Hagerman, about Miracle, or about something amazing they should see if it's going to be their first time coming to Idaho. Or maybe they're thinking about they're also stuck in traffic all the time and maybe don't love their job and they need to make a lifestyle change. And they're like, you know what, a slower pace does sound great. What's something people should know if they're going to think about moving or coming to Idaho?
Well, first of all, take a moment to think what you really like to do. And even if you're in a job you don't like, let your mind open towards that. Visualize it, for starters, and kind of research around. And it's never too late to start your life over. It's never too late to start your day over. So open your eyes and look around, you know. You're not stuck, ever. You're never stuck.
That's, I think, a really great outlook on life. I like that it's because you hear that sometimes, you know, it's never too late to like turn your life around and start something, but it's never too late to start your day over too.
Right.
Like if you're in the middle of the day and you're like, this has been going really crummy, I'm going to do something different.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can say no and you can say yes. And both are okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Any parting words about things in Hagerman or Southern Idaho that people should be sure to check out?
Well, just come through and see. One of the things about getting a massage is that you really, and especially if you're trying to find a therapist that works for you, you have to try it once, and then you know if it's a good client therapist match. So just come and see us. Come and try it.
Yeah.
You never know until you look and see.
Yeah, I've had several massages in different places, and I think that's so true. And I've never had a bad one, but I've definitely had ones where I felt like, whoa, that was a really good massage. And I've talked to people who are like, oh, I don't think I'd want a massage because they're maybe feel adverse to, you know, being exposed or putting themselves out there and that sort of intimate sort of thing. But I definitely think you're right. I think you got to give it a try because it's really a good experience when you've had it done. Yeah.
And there's another little thing about finding a massage therapist. Massage therapists are like artists. If you give 5 artists the same brush, the same pad of paper, and point to the same tree and have them all paint that tree, all 5 paintings are going to look vastly different from each other, but they're all going to have their beauty. And that's how massage therapists are. So if you have expectations and you like it this way or that way and you want it deep here and and you used to have your favorite therapist, just go in with an open mind, because everyone has different talents and they have different ways of perceiving what your body's asking for. And if you just allow yourself to receive the massage, you could discover some really amazing things that weren't, you know, on your list of expectations, but that were really helpful to you. So just stay open, and if it wasn't your favorite massage, try a different therapist. You know, you're only out one massage and it'll probably do some good anyway, regardless.
That's true. Perfect. Well, Jane, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you sharing you and your family's story, and we're so lucky that Miracle and Banbury are there for not only us but for others to soak and have all those wonderful experiences out in Hagerman Valley. So I really appreciate you coming by.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for listening to Secrets Out Idaho. You can follow Southern Idaho Economic Development on social media or visit southernidaho.org to learn more. Please take a moment to leave a rating and review and subscribe so you can be the first to hear more Secrets Out Idaho. Until next time.